So let us continue the discussion. In the last lecture, we have completed Section 9 subsection 3 of the CGST Act and Section 5 subsection 3 of the IGST Act. These sections deals with reverse charge mechanism cases where there are some supplies of goods and there are some supply of services on which tax is not paid by the supplier of goods or services, tax is paid by the recipient of goods and services. So we have covered that. Now we have another section also which deals with reverse charge mechanism cases, and that is section 9.4 as well as section 9.5. In these also we have some cases which are covered under reverse charge mechanism cases. So let me discuss with you now section 9.4 and 9.5. 5.5. Sorry, 9.4 and 5.4. 9.5 and 5.5, that is another concept. I hope the screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
So today the date is 8th or 9th?
9.
So the topic which is going on is still levy and collection. Within levy and collection, if you can get these points, there are three different situations: forward charge, reverse charge, and in one case neither forward nor reverse but electronic commerce operators. So forward charge case is 9.1 and 5.1 IGST. Reverse charge two sections, 9.3 and 5.3 IGST, as well as 9.4 and 5.4 IGST. And for ECO we have 9.5 and 5.5 of IGST. So technically there are three different situations of payment of tax to the government of India. In some cases supplier pays, in some cases recipient pay, in some cases neither the supplier pays nor the recipient, but electronic commerce operator pays. And the best example is Ola, Uber, these cabs. When you book any cab, now Ola is not having, it's possible that the cab is not owned by Ola. Ola is simply a platform where cab belongs to one person. Recipient is, for example, I am the passenger, so I am the recipient. So neither I pay the tax to the government nor that owner of the car pay tax to the government, but Ola has to pay tax to the government. It is because of section 9.5 and 5.5. Anyhow, so what we have covered? We have covered this in detail. We have covered this in detail in the last class, and now let me discuss with you 9.4 and 5.4. So I would like to show you one notification here, which is 07 2018, sorry 2019 central tax rate. Let me show you this. And corresponding notification was issued for integrated tax rate also, but let me show you this. Now it came late. GST came on 1st July 17, but 9.4 and 5.4 were not applicable till this date. So let me show you this notification of central tax rate 2019. This is the notification. I hope it is not yet visible, but it will be visible. Yeah, now you can see this notification. Now this is the notification. As you can see, the starting point. In exercise of the powers conferred by subsection 4 of section 9 of the Central Goods and Services Tax Act 17, the central government, on the recommendations of the council, hereby notifies that the registered persons specified in column 3 of the table below shall, in respect of supply of goods or services or both specified in column 2 of the table below, received from an unregistered supplier. This is a new point. In 9.3, if you remember, in the earlier section, subsection of reverse charge mechanism, it was not mentioned that supplier should be a registered person. Anyone can be the supplier. But in this 9.4, what is the condition? That supplier should be whom? An unregistered person. And when any unregistered person supplies the goods, that person cannot pay the tax to the government of India because that person is not a registered person. So until unless you are registered, you cannot pay tax to the government of India. That is why in those cases, government says that when supply is received from unregistered person, then recipient has to pay the tax. I hope you are getting the point. Now, second, in case of section 9.3 and 5.3, if you remember, we have separate cases of supply of goods like tendu leaves, BD wrapper leaf, tobacco, etc. And we have separate category of supply of services. But in 9.4 and 5.4, we have common notification. It can be supply of goods or it can be supply of services. So we don't have separate notification to check which supply is covered under 9.4. We have only one notification. But the second condition, it must be received from unregistered supplier. Then in that case, recipient of goods and services will pay the tax. And this list is having only 3 people right now, or you can say only 3 categories are there. So 9.4 and 5.4 is very easy. So there is nothing to remember basically. Now who is the supplier? Any unregistered person is the supplier. This is one point. It is necessary that unregistered person is the supplier. And who is the recipient? Promoter. The people now in your course there is no need to tell you the definition of promoter, but basically these are those who are building housing projects. These are those promoters, and there are only 3 items. For your example, I would like to suggest that only one point is to be learned: cement. So whenever any unregistered person supplies cement to the recipient who is a promoter, then in that case, that unregistered person, since cannot pay the tax, it is the promoter's obligation to deposit the tax with the government of India. That's it. So this is the point now, and that's it. This is what we have to do for 9.4 and 5.4. I hope the point is clear. If yes, please raise your hand. In 9.4, now again listen the difference. What is the difference in 9.3 and 9.4? In 9.3, it was not mentioned that the supplier should be a registered person. Supplier can be unregistered, supplier can be registered. So as far as supplier's registration is concerned, in 9.3 it was not necessary to see. But in 9.4 it is additional condition that supplier must be an unregistered person. That's it. And we have only 3 categories of supply of goods or services which are covered under 9.4. That's it. This is what 9.4 is. If it is clear, please raise your hand. If the point is clear, please raise your hand. If you have any problem, please unmute and ask. Very good. So I hope now you are clear with the concept of 9.3 and 9.4. Both are reverse charge, but in 9.3 supplier can be registered, unregistered doesn't matter. But in 9.4 it is compulsory that supplier must be an unregistered person for the time being. Now you do not know tomorrow what notification can come, but for the time being till today, supplier must be an unregistered person for the purpose of section 9.4. Now in two cases we have some changes within 9.4. There are two situations where we have some different concepts. So let me show you those notifications now. So I need to show you two different notifications which are within 9.4. So broadly, I have covered this. This is the main notification of 9.4. This is the main notification of 9.4. And for the time being, you have to learn only one point, that when supply of goods or services, whatever is this, is cement. When cement is supplied, by whom? By an unregistered supplier, to whom? To a promoter. Then promoter has to deposit the tax with the government of India. Can you see that screen or not? Is that screen visible or not? Is my screen?
No, sir.
So there is some problem in the net today. Anyhow, please wait. Let me reopen that screen. So that screen has gone anyhow. So we were discussing basically 9.4 and 5.4 of 5 GST. I showed the main notification of this section is (07) 2019. You are not supposed to learn these notifications, but it is necessary that I should show you the original sources. And here I got to know that whenever cement is supplied, by whom? Unregistered supplier, To whom? To promoter, then promoter will pay the tax as per 9(4). Then promoter has to pay. This is one point. But there are two different notifications which are also relevant. Another, or you can say other notifications, only two. Which are related to these two, where we have some exemption available, and this is 09/2019 central tax rate and 10/2019 central tax rate. These two, that's it. After this, this subsection will be over. So rather than showing the notification, let me show you my Word file where you can copy those points which I will say. Now what these two notifications says. Now this is the heading. So these two notifications are related to this point. Cases where tax is not paid on reverse charge basis by the specified registered recipients on the supplies received from the unregistered suppliers, in which cases the recipient is also not supposed to pay the tax. So my first case is intrastate supplies received by a deductor. Now if you remember Income Tax Act, we have TDS provisions. Like for example, if I am working in one institution, that institution will not give me the full salary. Institution will deduct some tax on my behalf, and institution will pay directly that tax to the government of India. I hope you understand this point. Same is the case here. Who is the deductor? That means the person who is liable to deduct tax at source. So when I purchase the laptop, for example, if I purchases laptop from Mr. A and the laptop costs rupees 1 lakh. If I purchase the laptop of 1 lakh rupees from Mr. A, then if I am that person as per the provisions of the GST laws who has to deduct tax at source, so I will not pay 1 lakh rupees to Mr. A. I will deduct some tax at source and will pay that tax directly to the government of India. This is what the concept of deductor is. Now, in this 9(4), what is the exemption given? A deductor. Only read till this point. Deductor, that is the person who is liable to deduct tax at source, is not supposed to pay the tax on reverse charge basis. That means for deductor is what? Basically recipient of goods. Because when you are a deductor, when you have received some goods or services and then you have to make some payment to the supplier, so you won't pay the full payment, you deduct some amount. For intrastate supplies of goods or services or both received from an unregistered person. This is the first notification which is relevant for the purpose of this section. If you have a theory, you have to learn this point. However, it is necessary that the deductor is not liable to be registered. Otherwise, then under section 24 clause 6, I don't want to discuss this point with you for the time being, because till we discuss the chapter of registration, you will not understand this. So you ignore this. However, for the time being, you simply remember that any deductor who has received some supplies from unregistered supplier, if that supply is intrastate, then deductor is not supposed to deduct any tax at source. Let me simplify this point. So situations where tax is not required. To be paid by the recipient if supply is received from an unregistered person. This is what my first point is. Since I'm discussing reverse charge mechanism, I need to explain this notification to you, because in this case, even if supplier is not liable to pay, recipient is also not liable to pay any GST to the government of India. But what is the condition? Now, for example, Mr. A is unregistered person. And for example, X Limited. Recipient, registered recipient. Because by default, when any person is liable to deduct tax at source, that means that person has to take registration. So this person is registered by default. Unregistered person will not cover here in this exemption. The recipient must be registered. Only then this person is that person who is liable to deduct tax at source. I have received something of 7 lakh rupees. So it is X job to pay 7 lakh rupees. But for example, X Limited will deduct. So X Limited is not only registered, but because of another provisions of GST laws, we have to learn the sections. This person is supposed to deduct tax at source also. It's compulsory. For example, X Limited is liable to deduct tax at source. That is why I will call X Limited as a deductor also. So X Limited is a recipient as well as deductor, because whosoever is the recipient of goods of services, that person can only be the deductor, because that person has to make the payment. So he will not pay full payment. He will deduct some tax at source. So X Limited is liable to deduct tax at source. Now, one thing must be clear in your mind, that whosoever is the recipient can be the deductor. Supplier can never be the deductor. Of course, supplier can also be the deductor, but as far as this transaction is concerned, supplier can be the deductor for those from where he or she is receiving the goods. Like for example, if Mr. A is also receiving the goods from Mr. K, then it is possible that A also becomes the deductor, because now A is acting as a recipient for this transaction. For this transaction, for this phase, for this path, it is possible that A also becomes deductor. But as far as this transaction is concerned, where A is supplying the goods, A cannot be the deductor. So deductor can only be whom? Recipient can only be the deductor. Recipient can. I'm not saying that 100% recipient can be the deductor. So in my case, because suppose X Limited is the deductor, under section 9(4), we have given some exemption to these deductors, that in case this supply is what? Intrastate. In case this supply is what? Intrastate. So basically, this supply can be covered under 9(4). Answer is yes, because in 9(4), what is the condition? Whenever anything is received from unregistered supplier by some selected registered recipients, not all the registered recipients, by some selected registered recipients, then in that case, registered recipient has to deposit the tax. But there is one exemption available. If this registered recipient is taking intrastate supply or is engaged in intrastate supply, if this registered recipient is the person who is liable to deduct tax at source, then in that case, this person is not required to deposit any tax to the government of India on the basis of reverse charge mechanism. I hope the point is clear. If still not clear, I have simply simplified this. Let me show you again my word file. And you have to read only this point. Deductor, that is the person who is liable to deduct tax at source. In my case, the deductor is X Limited, is not supposed to pay tax on reverse charge basis for intrastate supplies of goods or services or both received from an unregistered person. So whatever I have received in my example, I'm not supposed to pay any tax to the government of India. That's it. Please raise your hand. Now, however is ignored, I cannot explain to you right now because you need some more knowledge of GST. Only then you will understand this 24 clause C, clause 6. Anyhow, please raise your hand if this point is clear. Whenever any unregistered person supplies the goods to specified registered recipients, RCM becomes into picture, becomes applicable. But in one case, I have given you one exemption that if it is intrastate supply received from unregistered supplier by a person who is liable to deduct tax at source, then RCM is not applicable. So it is the exemption of 9.4. Okay, very good. Now let me tell you another point which is related to 9.4. After this, my 9.4 will be over. Again, rather than showing the notification, let me show you the simplified language. This is the point. A registered person who is dealing in buying and selling second-hand goods. So for example, I am a trader and I am purchasing second-hand goods and I am supplying second-hand goods and pays central tax. If I am saying central tax by means, it means what? That means this supply is what? Intrastate. Had it been interstate, I would have been paying integrated tax. And pays central tax on the value of outward supply of such second-hand goods. So in my example, this dealer is engaged only in intrastate supplies and not in interstate supplies because Act says this person must be paying central tax, not integrated tax. So this is the exemption which is again given for intrastate supplies and not for interstate supplies. Is not supposed to pay the tax on reverse charge basis for intrastate supplies of second-hand goods received from an unregistered person. That's it. Now what is this? Again, let me simplify this point for you. So I'm telling you now my second situation heading. You can again see where tax is not required to be paid by the recipient if supply is received from an unregistered person. And when I say recipient, by default in 9.4 the recipient must be registered. This is the point. In 9.4 the recipient must be registered. So one exemption was for intrastate supplies received by a person who is liable to deduct tax at source. And the second exemption is what? So this is my second situation where also under 9.4 I'm not supposed to pay tax on reverse charge basis, where a registered recipient, where a registered person is engaged in what? Engaged in or dealing in purchase and sale of second-hand goods. I am purchasing second-hand goods, I am selling second-hand goods. So Mr. A, or I should again use Cars 24. You can see the example of Cars 24. Cars 24, a registered entity. I can sell my car at cars 24. So any individual can sell a car, second-hand car. And of course, Mr. A is what? Unregistered, because to be covered under 9(4), I must be unregistered, supplier must be unregistered. Now this is the recipient, which is a registered. And this company also supplies further. For example, Mr. B may be also unregistered, or whether registered doesn't matter. I'm not concerned about the status of Mr. B. It does not matter who is Mr. B. It is none of my business to ask about the status of Mr. B. Now, whenever car 24 is earning the income, it is necessary that car 24 must be paying what? CGST. This is what the provision says. Car 24 must be saying CGST on outward supplies. Outward supply means further sale, not on purchases. Purchases are known as inward supply, sales are known as outward supply. On outward supply. So the point is what? If this car 24 is engaged in intrastate supply, not interstate, if intrastate supplies, then whenever this company will purchase, for example, Mr. A sold Centro of 2 lakh rupees. Car 24 is not supposed to pay any tax on this amount. Is not supposed to pay any tax on this amount, because whenever any registered recipient who is engaged in purchasing and selling second-hand goods. So car 24 is a registered recipient engaged in purchasing and selling second-hand cars. Whenever purchases the goods from unregistered person, so car 24 has purchased a Centro, second-hand Centro of 2 lakh rupees from unregistered person. Then Act says that recipient is not liable to pay any tax to the government of India on this purchase. This is what the point is. Provided, but one thing is necessary, that whenever car 24 will be selling the vehicles, these second-hand goods, then car 24 must be collecting the tax from the person to whom this car 24 is selling the goods, and at that time on outward supplies of cars 24, this company must be paying to us CGST. So at the time of purchase, we exempt this car 24 that do not pay the tax. And do you know why? The reason is simple, because Centro, when it was purchased new, when it was newly purchased, for example, around 8 years ago, it was newly purchased. Maybe for example, 6 lakh. At that time, government has already got the revenue on entire 6 lakh. So why there should be double taxation? When the car was sold by this showroom, for example, to Naveen, then Naveen has already paid the tax on 6 lakh rupees. So this 2 lakh by default is included in this 6 lakh. So why there should be double taxation? I hope you are getting my point. When the car was new at that time, already the tax has been collected on entire 6 lakh rupees. So when it is sold again, logically there should not be double taxation on the same value. In fact, on less value, why the tax should be charged? That is why on the purchases, government says recipient is not supposed to pay the tax. And by default, if recipient is not supposed to pay the tax, supplier is again unregistered, supplier also will not pay the tax. So whenever you sell the car to car 24, they will you will not ask GST, and neither they will pay the GST to the government of India. So that transaction is free of tax. But when this car is finally again sold by car 24, in that case, government says that now pay us the tax. That's it. Please raise your hand if this point is also clear. It may look like a little bit technical, but you have to read and learn. Let me show you the Word file where you can take this screenshot also, if you want. Now this is of 9.4. If you want, you can take this screenshot. Kindly take this screenshot. It will help you when you will revise the concept, and it is better you note down in your notebook. It is better that you prepare your notebook for GST, because there are so many notification theories which will be merged after some time. Please take this screenshot and raise your hand if you have taken this screenshot so that I can proceed. After taking this screenshot, please raise your hand. Can you see the Word file? I think it is visible now.
Yes.
Earlier, I think it was not visible. I think it is visible now. Please take this screenshot. Please raise your hand when you have taken this screenshot. Okay, so my 9-4 and by default my 5-4 is clear. That's it. So I'm proceeding now to my next concept, 9-5 and 5-5. After this, levy and collection topic will be over. Now, last topic of levy and collection topic. Then we'll start a new topic after this. So now it is section 9.5 and 5.5 of IGST. I told you that there are three bases of paying the tax, or three persons are responsible to pay the tax to the government of India. In some cases, supplier, which is forward charge; in some cases, recipient, which is reverse charge; in some cases, neither supplier nor recipient. But whom? Electronic commerce operator, that is ECO. I'm giving you an example of Ola cabs. Ola might be having own taxis also, but for example, this taxi actually, you cannot imagine. I don't know where which is the front and which is the back, but this I want to show you as back. Pollution is going. Okay, now this car is belonging to Mr. A, who might be unregistered. Otherwise, it does not matter whether Mr. A is unregistered or registered. First of all, you must know this. It does not matter who this Mr. A is, and I am the client. Naveen booked Ola cab. It does not matter whether I am registered or unregistered. Doesn't matter. Does not matter. I booked this through app of Ola cabs. Had I booked the taxi directly, then this 9.5 and 5.5 would not have been applicable. Then other sections would have been applicable. 9.1, 9.3, 9.4 I had to see. But now if I booked through this cab app, not cab, I booked this cab through app, then this app is what? Electronic commerce operator. So who is electronic commerce operator? You have to read the definition given in section 2. Who basically provides or who operates through these platforms, through online or website, digital. These are electronic commerce operator. Flipkart, Snapdeal, Ola, Uber. These all are electronic commerce operator. Snapdeal, Amazon, these all are electronic commerce operator, etc, etc. These are common. Okay. Now, if you remember, always see the receipt when you book any cab. They will charge some GST. Always they will charge. This GST is whose obligation to deposit with the government? Ola Cabs, not the supplier. Under section 9(5) and 5(5) of IGST, Ola has to deposit this tax with the government of India. This is what a new concept. Neither forward charge where supplier pays, nor reverse charge where recipient pays, but mediator pays. So only, not every mediator pays, only those who are known as electronic commerce operators. So this is what my 9(5) and 5(5) is. Again, if you remember that notification, not all services are charged. We have a notification number 17 2017 central tax rate, and we have corresponding notification of IGST also, which I will not discuss now. And let me show you which 3 services are covered. 3 services. Acha, one more thing, this does not cover goods, this covers only services. Only services are covered, not goods. Otherwise, in reverse charge and forward charge, goods as well as services, but in this case, only services are covered. I will show you the notification, and do you know which are those services? Let me show you my Word file, and then I will simplify the points. And before discussing those services, I hope you remember one more thing. Before I discuss this, I hope you remember one thing, that if ECO, first preference is ECO has to pay the tax. If ECO doesn't have a physical presence, then any person, second preference was any person who is representing the ECO, that has to pay the tax. And what is third? If ECO doesn't have any representative also, then ECO has to appoint a person who has to pay the tax. Appoint a person, and whose obligation is ECO has to appoint. Then that person has to pay the tax. I hope you remember this. This is written in the Act. If ECO is there in India, ECO pay the tax. If ECO is not existing in India, any person who is representing ECO for anything, that person has to pay the tax. If no person representing, then ECO has to specially appoint a person whose job is to pay the tax to the government of India. This is the sequence. Anyhow, which are those services? Let me share with you my Word file. After this, we will end today's discussion. This is the file, and I hope you can see this. First is transportation of passengers, not goods. Not goods. If goods are transported through electronic commerce operator, then ECO is not under obligation to deposit the tax. Either supplier will pay or recipient will pay. That we have to check other sections, whether 9(1), 9(3) or 9(4). But for passengers, ECO has to pay the tax. Second, you book through OYO rooms. If you book hotels through OYO rooms, then OYO also has to pay the tax. Accommodation. And third, these urban clap services, housekeeping services, plumbing, etc, etc. Then in that case also, these have to pay the tax. So basically 3 services are covered: transportation of passengers, and accommodation and housekeeping services. In these cases, ECO is supposed to pay the tax, but we have one exception also. And let me simplify that exception. Let me again come back to my notes. So which are those services? Which are those services? First service, service number 1, where ECO has to pay the tax. Which is this service? Transportation of passengers. Then who has to pay the tax? ECO has to pay the tax. Second service, service number 2, providing accommodation. Now, for example, Oyo room. Naveen is the client. For example, Mr. Naveen is the client, recipient. It does not matter this recipient is registered, unregistered. It is none of my business. Registered or unregistered does not matter. Supplier, Mr. X. Now it matters who is the supplier. If supplier is unregistered, then who has to pay the tax? Oyo room. Oyo is liable. But if supplier is Mr. X, and for example, Mr. X is registered, recipient is same person, then Oyo is not liable. Then who is liable? Supplier. Registered supplier is liable. Supplier, if registered, then Oyo is not liable. Then government says then Oyo is under no obligation because the supplier is registered, supplier will pay the tax. Supplier is liable. This is the point. This is not available in case of transportation of passengers. If supplier is a registered person, still ECO has to pay the tax when it comes to transportation of passengers. But when it comes to providing accommodation, then government check that, tell whether this supplier is also registered. If supplier is also registered, then government says ECO is under no obligation to pay the tax. If supplier is not registered, then only ECO is supposed to pay the tax. And the same concept applies for my third service, service 3, which is housekeeping. Plumber, housekeeping, etc. Here also ECO, for example, urban claps. वैसे urban claps अब शायद नाम चेंज हो गया urban claps का. I think the name of urban clap is changed now. Recipient Naveen. It does not matter whether this recipient is unregistered or registered. It does not matter. But what matters is supplier's registration. Whether this supplier, Mr. X, is registered or unregistered. If unregistered, then who has to pay the tax? Urban clap. ECO is responsible. Is liable. Liable to pay. But if Mr. X is registered, then who is liable? Not urban clap, but registered supplier is liable. This is what the point. And with this, I come to end of the topic, levy and collection.
Sir, can you get to the previous?
Section 9, please wait, and section 5 of IGST, 100% complete from my side. Yes, please ask what you are saying.
Sir, can you get to the last slide? I mean the previous slide.
Yes, please. Yeah, please ask.
Thank you, sir.
Your voice is creating some disturbance, so I'm not understanding basically what you are saying. Can you speak again?
Done, sir. Thank you.
Okay, okay. Now this is the discussion and my topic levy and collection is over. Tomorrow or day after tomorrow I will start a new topic. Now what I have told you is from the original act, original notification. Now you can refer the material of the CA final and now you will find that material very easy to be understood. And that material in my opinion is a good material. You can refer that. Goodbye from my side and I'll meet now day after tomorrow. Thanks.